Starting now, Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. Politics, religion, finances, all the topics your grandmother told you not to discuss with friends. And now, your host, Matthew Dowling, and today's guests on Commonalities.
Well, welcome to another episode of Commonalities. I'm your host, Matt Dowling, here on WMBS 590 AM 101.1 FM and any place you download your favorite podcasts. Today on Commonalities, my guest is John O'Brien, and John is with the Keystone Contractors Association as well as the General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania. John, thank you for being with us here today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite. I'm looking forward to the talk.
Absolutely. And I know you have a lot of good information that you can share with our listeners at home here in the Fayette County area and those from around the Commonwealth and the country that tune in to the digital version of our podcast. Now, I wanted to give you a minute at the top of the conversation to kind of do some self-introduction, give a little bit of your history and background, and talk about the organizations that you work for and represent.
Good, yeah. Again, thanks for having me. I am John O'Brien, as you mentioned. Grew up in Central PA, then after high school went to the Navy, served our country for 4 years, 4 awesome years, spent most of it in Norfolk, Virginia.
Well, thank you for your service.
Enjoyed every minute of it. Then after that, went to University of Pittsburgh and met my future wife and 2 Pitt grads living together. She's a Pittsburgher, so we ended up raising a family in Pittsburgh. And then 6 years ago, the KCA came calling and said, hey, would you maybe consider running KCA? It's based in Harrisburg. You grew up in Mechanicsburg. And had to talk to the wife and 3 daughters, but I think I sold them on it. And we've been here looking on almost 7 years now, and they love it. And it's been great. So, but yeah, as far as the groups I work for and represent, it's kind of confusing when I meet with people, especially in the legislative arena. So KCA is Keystone Contractors Association. We are your traditional trade association. For our union members, we negotiate on your behalf. We negotiate with Carpenters Union, operating engineers, laborers, cement masons, bricklayers, kind of the non-mechanical trades. We also offer education, networking, all that fun stuff that you get at an association, golf outings and whatnot. And then GCAP is General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania. And due to KCA being located in the Harrisburg area, the executive director of KCA has traditionally doubled as the ED of GCAP. And GCAP members are Master Builders Association, where I used to work in Pittsburgh, and then General Building Contractors Association in Philadelphia, and then the association up in Scranton. So collectively, GCAP represents 1,000 plus contractors all around the Commonwealth, and it's strictly government affairs. So yeah, those are the 2 groups, and that's kind of who I am, and glad to be here today.
So, John, with those organizations, what are kind of your key roles? I know you oversee the organization, but what are some of the key goals or objectives of Keystone Contractors or the General Contractors of PA?
Like I said, GCAP is more of the government affairs. So those goals are to monitor legislation and, push for good policy that increases jobs and man hours and construction projects. Safety is real important as well as every organization. Safety is priority number 1. As far as KCA, so like I mentioned, in 2016, they approached me. And I know Pittsburgh inside out. I know all the contractors. I know the history. I could tell you who built what building. But take me outside of Allegheny County, and it was like a whole new world for me. So I thought I would take the first
Sure.
6 months, just to kind of get to know the members and understand what's going on and kind of see what their challenges are and kind of create a strategic plan from those challenges. So 2016 into 2017, I was, going to Johnstown, Scranton, Reading, York, all the areas, where we have a large base of contractors. And the reoccurring issue kept popping up. I kept hearing about opioids. I kept hearing about pain meds, back-to-back meetings with an apprenticeship council. We had back-to-back meetings where you heard the story about the All-American boy. He played all sports in high school. Then he got into construction, got some pains and some issue, or he had some, some injuries on the job site. So they would, push him towards pain meds, to keep him working. And next thing you know, it's, you hear about heroin and death. There was back-to-back meetings back in 2017 where it was like death by drugs. And I just approached the KCA board and I'm like, this is nuts. This is crazy. Maybe I lived a sheltered life in Pittsburgh, but I wasn't exposed to all this. It was quite different. And don't get me wrong. Pittsburgh has its challenges and some issues as well, but it was worse out here, as far as the industry goes. So yeah, collectively.
Well, in this time frame, we're seeing even more of addiction that is starting with prescription painkillers. Just within the last year, we saw that there were a number of counties that came together to sue the makers of OxyContin, and of course they won that, and they have some money to spend over the next 10 years that will be paid out to talk about addiction and recovery. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but we've seen a problem. Not that addiction hasn't always been a problem, because it has been since the beginning of civilization, really. Since man started using substances of any nature. But in this time period, that opioid epidemic has really become a larger problem. That was one of the biggest issues in my 6 years in the General Assembly that we were trying to address, and unfortunately, we're doing so with very little success rate. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to kind of interject how big that problem has become.
Seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and COVID hasn't helped matters at all. But no, when I said I didn't realize it was a bigger problem, I meant more work-wise, more construction-wise. Yeah. So Pittsburgh was a pioneer when it comes to drug testing. We started drug testing the construction industry in 1999. This was years before. So my whole working career, I've been exposed to drug testing and, labor management, working together and working with the apprentices, to educate them on the harms of the issues. And there's low drug rates amongst Pittsburgh's, construction trades. And then, like I said, I moved out here in 2016 and I'm going through the CBAs and I'm like, there's no mention at all about drug testing. There's no drug policy at all. I'm like, I thought this day and age, it would be everywhere, in construction. So it's kind of a whole new world for me. So yeah, like I said, I approached the KCA board and I said, we really need to do something. So, construction is famous for its recognition weeks. We have like ladder safety week, driver training week, all these different weeks throughout the year. And we started one last week of July, the Construction Opioid Awareness Week. It's a week dedicated to, raising awareness, getting educational resources out to employers so they can talk to their employees about it. We got little stickers from the National Safety Council that workers can put on their insurance cards and their medical cards. And once you go to a medical office or a pharmacy, you're not pulling that card out again. So the significance of the sticker is you, Mr. Employer, you're sitting down with your workers saying, hey, we care about you. We care about your family. Here's a sticker I want you to put on there. Just to remind you, just in the back of your head, just so you know, it says opioids warn me, so the pharmacist is supposed to warn them if there's an opioid in whatever they're giving them. So that was huge. You know, we got a lot of press, a lot of positive feedback from contractors. The best feedback I got was an electrician out of Reading, and I've tried since then to reach out to him just to see what's going on. But he called me and said, you know, what you're doing is awesome. I'm a recovering addict, and this is amazing. I'm talking to my coworkers about it. I feel like I can finally talk about it. You got it to the point where people can talk about it in the industry, and it's not something that you block anymore or hide.
Kind of a way of destigmatizing, addiction and allowing it to be out in the open, because we can't address that problem unless people are open and
But he's since left that company, and I'm trying to track him down. If he listens to Commonalities, hope he gives me a call again. So, but that was awesome. And then the coolest part was other states started doing this as well. So Massachusetts started one, Illinois started it, and I believe Virginia as well. So they see the success that we're having there with employers talking. So it's good stuff going on here.
Well, hey, that's great, John, and we have to get our first break in. When we come back, we want to continue our conversation, talking a little bit more about the workforce and what you're doing to recruit young people into the construction trades. But we're going to take that quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. We'll be back after this brief break to recognize our sponsors.
Is your business using analog strategies in a digital marketing world? If so, then contact Matthew or Rebecca Dowling at Coordinated 360 for a professional consultation, where we bring in-depth knowledge and functional expertise with a holistic perspective. Coordinated 360 provides digital marketing, paid ad and media buying services, web design, social media management, video production, and more for businesses, organizations, and political campaigns. With decades of experience, Matt and Becky at Coordinated 360 can help you craft your unique message and share it with the world. For a no-risk media evaluation and recommendations, call 724-320-2212 or visit us online at www.coordinated360.com. Find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or email info@coordinated360.com.
Founded in 1991, Bright Stripe has succeeded on the premises of quality work, done right at an affordable cost. At Bright Stripe, personal service has always been a must. We strive to be the premier asphalt sealing and striping company in the region. Matt George, the owner of Bright Stripe LLC, brings experience from his construction and maintenance company, Mountain Creek Construction and Maintenance. Matt has provided excellent customer service to many happy businesses and homeowners. Bright Stripe is the premier provider of seal coating, or pavement sealing, the process of applying a protective coating to asphalt-based pavements to provide a layer of protection from the elements, water, oils, and UV damage. They also specialize in driveway and parking lot crack sealing. Crack sealing is the process of applying a protective coating to asphalt-based pavements. Bright Stripe also abides by all safety laws and standards in line striping and layout. For a no-obligation estimate, contact Bright Stripe at 724-437-6090.
When it comes to buying a home, what you see isn't exactly what you get. That's why home buyers should call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108. You'll see colorful flowers, freshly painted walls, granite countertops, gleaming hardwood floors, and other touches. What you can't see is the cracks, ancient plumbing, dangerous wiring, or broken appliances that might be revealed when you hire a home inspector. And when it comes to home inspectors, knowing yours has the qualifications and experience needed should be your number one concern. Dave Dowling with Grandview Inspections is an architectural engineer with over 30 years of commercial construction experience and hundreds of inspections under his belt. A home inspection is an opportunity for you to hire an expert to walk through the home and prepare a report, outlining the home's major components, what needs immediate attention, and what will require maintenance after you move in. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so make sure your investment is everything you hoped it to be. Call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108.
Are you enjoying the program you're listening to? Support Commonalities and help keep us on the air by making a donation of $5, $10, or $25, or any amount you feel comfortable sharing online at donate.commonalities.online. Again, that is donate.commonalities.online on the World Wide Web. Buy our host a cup of coffee or help pay for airtime at donate.commonalities.online.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Commonalities. I'm your host, Matt Dowling, on WMBS 590 AM 101.1 FM. My guest today is John O'Brien with the Keystone Contractors Association and the General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania. John, before we went to the break, we were talking a little bit about new initiatives that were kind of born out of your experiences and your recent strategic plan that have to deal with addressing the addiction issues that exist within the construction trades. We wanted to come back from the break and talk a little bit about recruitment. And I understand that you're working with a high school here in Pennsylvania to get young people interested in the construction trades. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing with that high school?
Yeah. So probably about a year ago or so, I was talking to our board and I said it would be cool to have like a marketing contest just to see what high school kids come up with. Because, you know, my whole experience, my whole career, it's just me and carpenter training directors and other contractors going to high schools saying, "Oh, you should help the industry. You should work in the industry. You know, and this is a great career. You can help your family. You know, raise a family, retirement, blah blah blah." And I'm pretty sure it's in one ear, out the other ear when you go to those high school career fairs. And I was saying to the board, I said, "What if we have like a contest to see what high school kids come up with? Like, what do they want to hear?" And then some just open forum, just see what happens. And I said, well, I'll do some research. I'll ask around. So I started calling around to some local schools and some teachers, guidance counselors. And I connected with, my kids go to Northern High School. I connected with their marketing and business teacher, Mr. Neeson, great guy. And I told Jim my idea, Jim Neeson. I said, you know, it'd be great to have some sort of contest or just see what happens. And and he goes, well, let me throw it out, because Northern started something new this school year. They have activity groups after school. So there's a business group after school. And he goes, this is the first year we're doing this, so we need some sort of project to work on whenever we meet, you know, every other week or whatever. So he sat down with the students and said, hey, the KCA approached us and they want to do something workforce related. And they want to see what ideas high school students can come up with, maybe some sort of contest, and the best idea gets money or an iPad or something, you know. And this conversation happened back in like June or July, right after school let out. And then right before Thanksgiving, Mr. Neeson calls me and he said, hey, I want to give you an update on that project. And I to be honest with you, I totally forgot about it. You know, it was a couple months later, and I assumed it was dead on arrival and not going to move at all. And he goes, well, it's been great. You know, we spent the last couple months in school with our marketing group, and we're talking about it, and we've come up with this idea where you feed us the benefits, you feed us what you think is best about reasons to enter the construction industry. And we're going to put it in high school language. We're going to put it on TikTok where kids see it. We're going to put it on all the social media platforms and just get those messages out there. And then they told me this, and oh, that's exciting. That's cool, you know. And then they're having different contests throughout the year. So if you sign up, they're randomly going to select someone and get like some T-shirts or water bottles or something to get the kids excited or something. So on the phone, I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds cool. And I said, and actually, we have a KCA event in a couple weeks. If you want to come and talk there, that'd be great, you know. So we were at Duke's on the River about 2 or 3 weeks ago, right there in Warmleysburg. And he brought 4 of his students. Mr. Neeson and 4 students came, and there was a packed room of 70-plus construction professionals. And they arrived, and the students were like, oh, we're a little nervous, you know. We didn't expect such a big crowd or whatever. But they rocked it. I mean, they were awesome. And they talked about how they're in the infancy of the program and they're building up their database. And it's going to be texting. Like I said, it's going to be social media. And I'm talking to them with them more and more to get more of the benefits out there. And then they're spinning it and putting the high school language twist behind it. So.
Well, that's a fantastic idea. You kind of went direct to to your target market and have them giving you some great feedback on what you need to do and how best to connect with that generation, that age group, that demographic. And it seems like you guys are doing some great work there. We have just about 2 to 3 minutes before our next break, but the next topic I wanted to segue into is mental health. And, we may have to pause this discussion for our last break of the episode and then come back. But tell me a little bit about what you're doing to address mental health issues within the industry.
To date, we have a podcast, the Building PA podcast, and it'd be great to have you on as well. But we've had some renowned speakers from around the country. AGC is the largest association in America, Associated General Contractors of America. They've launched a mental health task force, and we've had that co-chair on there. This individual named Mandy Kime out of the state of Washington. She started Construction's Culture of Care, and it's just an awesome effort. Just kind of like what I talked about with the stickers. It's a way of opening up, getting rid of the stigma associated with mental health issues and just letting people know it's okay to talk about it. But yeah, we're currently,
and if you think about the kind of guys or people that go into the construction industry, the general profile that you would give wouldn't be someone who is sometimes these are burly men, and they're not the kind of people that would go out and talk about the mental health issues that they have. I've read several studies, and the individuals that go into construction work are actually at a relatively high rate of suicide as well. So I'm sure that mental health is a huge problem for the community. And listen, I've gone through in my own experiences, had my own issues. I've been open about my struggles with alcohol addiction, and have finally gotten those under control since the June timeframe. It's hard for men, especially that quote unquote alpha male, to go to someone else, especially another man, and say, you know what, I have a problem I need to talk about. And I just think that that's so important that you are kind of addressing the needs of mental health, because it's not something that people want to come out and talk to their coworkers about and say that they need help. So, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to interject just, how important mental health is, especially with the demographic of construction workers.
Definitely. Yeah. You mentioned suicide. This stat will blow your mind. It blows my mind every time I hear it and think about it. But 1 out of every 9 field construction worker knows someone that committed suicide, has worked with someone that committed suicide. It's crazy. So it's definitely a big issue. And, we've kind of thrown stuff out there to see what works, see what helps or whatever. But now this year we're trying to have more of a uniform approach and kind of a uniform approach, I guess, is the best way to address it. So plenty to talk about, after the break, if you want.
Sure. Well, we do have to get that break in, and we will do so right now. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with John O'Brien with the Keystone Contractors Association and the General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania. We're talking mental health in the construction field. Stay with us here on Commonalities.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. We'll be back after this brief break to recognize our sponsors.
Is your business using analog strategies in a digital marketing world? If so, then contact Matthew or Rebecca Dowling at Coordinated 360 for a professional consultation, where we bring in-depth knowledge and functional expertise with a holistic perspective. Coordinated 360 provides digital marketing, paid ad and media buying services, web design, social media management, video production, and more for businesses, organizations, and political campaigns. With decades of experience, Matt and Becky at Coordinated 360 can help you craft your unique message and share it with the world. For a no-risk media evaluation and recommendations, call 724-320-2212 or visit us online at www.coordinated360.com. Find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or email info@coordinated360.com.
Founded in 1991, Bright Stripe has succeeded on the premises of quality work, done right at an affordable cost. At Bright Stripe, personal service has always been a must. We strive to be the premier asphalt sealing and striping company in the region. Matt George, the owner of Bright Stripe LLC, brings experience from his construction and maintenance company, Mountain Creek Construction and Maintenance. Matt has provided excellent customer service to many happy businesses and homeowners. Bright Stripe is the premier provider of seal coating, or pavement sealing, the process of applying a protective coating to asphalt-based pavements to provide a layer of protection from the elements, water, oils, and UV damage. They also specialize in driveway and parking lot crack sealing. Crack sealing is the process of applying a protective coating to asphalt-based pavements. Bright Stripe also abides by all safety laws and standards in line striping and layout. For a no-obligation estimate, contact Bright Stripe at 724-437-6090.
When it comes to buying a home, what you see isn't exactly what you get. That's why home buyers should call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108. You'll see colorful flowers, freshly painted walls, granite countertops, gleaming hardwood floors, and other touches. What you can't see is the cracks, ancient plumbing, dangerous wiring, or broken appliances that might be revealed when you hire a home inspector. And when it comes to home inspectors, knowing yours has the qualifications and experience needed should be your number one concern. Dave Dowling with Grandview Inspections is an architectural engineer with over 30 years of commercial construction experience and hundreds of inspections under his belt. A home inspection is an opportunity for you to hire an expert to walk through the home and prepare a report outlining the home's major components, what needs immediate attention, and what will require maintenance after you move in. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so make sure your investment is everything you hoped it to be. Call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108.
Are you enjoying the program you're listening to? Support Commonalities and help keep us on the air by making a donation of $5, $10, or $25, or any amount you feel comfortable sharing online at donate.commonalities.online. Again, that is donate.commonalities.online on the World Wide Web. Buy our host a cup of coffee or help pay for airtime at donate.commonalities.online.
Welcome back to Commonalities. I'm your host, Matt Dowling. My guest today is John O'Brien with the Keystone Contractors Association, also abbreviated as KCA, or the General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania, GCAP. And John, before the break, we were talking mental health in construction. So why don't we go ahead and pick up the conversation where we left off?
Yeah. Like I was mentioning, we've done some podcast episodes, we've done some seminars, all various stuff on mental health issues, addiction recovery. We have the Construction Opioid Awareness Week, where we really talk about recovery and addiction. It's called Opioid Awareness Week, but kind of covers alcohol as well too, and other drugs. But yeah, we've just kind of tried to supply a bunch of resources to employers in hopes that they'll get it to the workers and make it okay to talk about. But this year, as part of our strategic plan, it's something that we really want to focus on and help out in more of a concentrated effort, to help out in the area of mental health. I mean, we kind of broke it down into the 4 key areas. Number one, understand it is important. Like you said before the break, it's a male-dominated industry, tough guy industry over the years. We don't talk about feelings. Something's wrong, just after work, grab a drink or something and get over it, and just show up the next day. And that's the wrong way to look at life, and that's not what future generations want. Future workers, they don't want that, and current and older workers, they don't need that. So just make sure the construction community, the owners, the companies, make sure they know it's a big issue and they see it. Like I said, that 1 in 9 before the break, 1 in 9 construction workers know someone that committed suicide. So yeah, it's a big deal, and 1 in 26 management knows someone on their staff that committed suicide. So it touches everyone, labor and management, not just people in the field.
In the construction industry is such a different culture. Just for the listeners that may not know this, or for you, if you don't know this, John, my dad was partners in an industrial construction company. They did general contracting and construction management. And in my college years, that was my summer profession. So I was out in the field, normally mixing mud for the guys that were laying brick and so forth. The culture is just it's completely different. These are individuals that really are great people that have a good heart. Just expressing emotion is very difficult within the culture. And that's something that I quickly realized, and I was on that 6 until 2:30 or 3 o'clock shift for a long time. And, between 3 and 5, when the missus gets home, a lot of my coworkers would stop at the bar, and they spent their first couple hours off there. So, I know how this culture can really lend itself to people with addiction issues, and addiction ties directly into mental health, which is what we're talking about. So, let's continue our conversation on.
You mentioned there are good people. You won't find better hearts. I don't think so in any industry. It's just amazing, all the giving back to communities, and all the volunteer efforts. It's awesome. So. But yeah, number one, understanding it's important. Number 2 is raising awareness. A couple ways we're doing that is, we're creating job site posters that has numbers, phone numbers for outreach, veteran assistance, because a lot of veterans, have a lot of mental health issues as well. And that's another group of people that sometimes keep their emotions in check and don't like to talk about it too much. But that simple little thing like a job site poster is a way to attack the stigma and a way to let people know, hey, I guess it's okay to talk. It's okay not to be okay. So it's just one little way. That, and we have toolbox talks. Our association, we send every Monday morning at 6 a.m. we send toolbox talks to our members. OSHA requires them on some projects or whatever, but it's a thing that we do weekly, and we're working in a lot of toolbox talks on mental health and suicide and addiction, whatever, just to keep the conversation going and letting people know it's okay to talk about it. And then it's also raise awareness, make sure people know about EAPs, employee assistance programs, and Just let them know the employer, the company's here for you. Just make sure that's a known fact. You know? And then step 3 is kind of just looking internally. There's some really awesome self-assessment tools online. You know, one being Man Therapy, which I like, and every few months I've gone to the website, and it's just a way to recharge yourself and just kind of figure out what's going on, and it delivers it in a non-serious way. I think a lot of the self-assessment tools would quickly turn off the construction workforce because it's so straight-laced, you know, just kind of no nonsense. So we offer kind of both tools. We send out the email links to all the companies, get it out to their employers, out to their employees, and just kind of one is more straight-laced, one is just the facts, man, you know. And then if you go to Man Therapy, which I could send you the link afterwards, and it's comical, it's kind of funny, but it delivers a very strong and impactful message. So it could turn some people off, not thinking it's a serious issue, but it's just a way to reach different audiences. So looking internally is important, you know, from company owners all the way down to the employees. And through those first 3 steps, you know, I think you'll see, and we hope what will happen is people talk more. And then within companies, we have a mental health task force, and we're going to meet every month. And from all this outreach, the task force is going to devise plans and strategies and what educational tools are needed. We're definitely not going to reinvent the wheel. There's tons of great resources out there from groups like National Safety Council, even my old work, Master Builders Association. They're doing a great job on this in this area. So we're going to promote those good tools that they have, and for what's missing, we're going to create that resource or create that educational program. Just think there's lots of work to do, and these workers give it their all, and they do everything they can to build Pennsylvania, and we need to be there for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's important information to get out. I think those job site posters will be great because we're talking about substance abuse and mental health. I wanted to also mention that there is a new crisis and suicide lifeline 3-digit number that people can call. So if you or someone you know are in a crisis situation, that number is 988, and that was just activated this last year throughout the United States. So again, 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That is through the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Best way to think of their acronym is SAMHSA, and you can go to samhsa.gov for more information. John, we're just down to the last 60 seconds here in the program today. Why don't you give us any final thoughts you may have?
I'm just glad you mentioned the 988. I mean, we put it on our website, and they got that out in the fall. And I was let's do all this mental outreach and all this campaign. Let's do that in 2023. And then knowing that the holidays were coming and it's a very stressful time, you know, we really pushed it forward and really did a lot of work in November, December, just in time for the holidays. And did hear back from a few labor friends that we're appreciative that we're getting these resources out there, the self-assessment tools, and you know, it's a serious issue, and we're going to keep plugging away, and we just want to help the industry.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much for making some time for me here, John, right after the holidays. My guest today has been John O'Brien with KCA, the Keystone Contractors Association, and GCAP, General Contractors Association of Pennsylvania. I want to thank you again for being on the show. You guys are doing important work within the field of construction, not just to recruit young people to help build a better Pennsylvania, but to also address the issues that the industry sees with mental health and addiction. It's been a great conversation. You have a great day now, John.
Thanks.
This has been Commonalities, a show where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. Copyright 2022 Coordinated 360. All public rebroadcasts should be done with prior written approval from Matthew Dowling. All requests should be sent to info@coordinated360.com. Thank you for listening to Commonalities.